Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with another episode of SoundJack's Rambles. And today I am here with Alyssa.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about Ralph Breaks the Internet, or Wreck-It Ralph 2. That's not its actual official title, but it's the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph. So, yeah. Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, so it came out 2 Wednesdays ago. So actually, well, the day this goes up, because it came out the day before Thanksgiving's, because Thanksgiving was a thing. So this was the first new movie we were talking about that wasn't a Friday premiere, which is just oh hey, this is a first.
It is a first.
Yes. I also, because they have previews the night before the movie actually opens, I was able to go see it at my local theater, and they have $5 movie tickets every Tuesday, all day. So I got to see a brand new movie for $5.
I envy you so much. Mine was like $10-ish.
I don't know if it would even be that.
Which is still pretty cheap, all things considered. The AMC that's near me has like $14, I think, for a ticket. I think.
I like my theaters.
Unless I'm lying, which I totally could be.
I like my movie theater. I like it a lot.
But the AMC near me is a little more expensive.
Yeah.
Thank goodness for Cinepolis.
Yep. But anywho, we don't have to tell people how we got to know this film, right?
I mean, what about Wreck-It Ralph itself?
Oh, true. That's true. We have not talked about Wreck-It Ralph itself on this channel. So, Alyssa, how did you find out? How did you watch the Wreck-It Ralph the first time, or get to know or hear of Wreck-It Ralph?
So this is actually a really interesting story.
Okay.
So I remember, God, I don't know if I think I probably saw the trailers for this movie. And I've been looking forward to seeing it, and I was probably going to see it anyway. But I actually saw this as my technically first date with a guy.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah, you knew about this.
Yes.
Yeah, so this guy who had a huge crush on me back in high school took me out to see Michael. Turns out we've been dating since I was in high school, and we didn't even know.
Oh wow, that's awkward.
I'm just kidding. So the guy took me out to see it for my birthday. It was a birthday present. Went to the same movie theater that I saw the sequel at, which is kind of weird when you think about it.
Yeah.
We went to Fuddruckers beforehand. I remember that much.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really awkward date.
Yeah.
But the movie was great. That was the best part of the date, was the movie. It was, I really liked Wreck-It Ralph. It had a lot of good jokes. It had a good plot, good characters, video games.
Yay!
I like video games.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's how I found out about Wreck-It Ralph, the first one, and then the second one I just kind of saw the trailers. So
yeah. No, yeah. So this movie, if I remember correctly, I saw it with Noah in the theaters first time.
Oh, cool.
And then I saw this one in theaters with Noah for the first time. It was actually he had the realization that, it comes out tomorrow, so there's probably Tuesday night showings. And then as the day I just got to him, we were hanging out because that was the best day we were going to hang out before we went back to California. And then he was like, wait a minute, I think we can do this. And we could, and we did. So yay. Oh wow, your keyboard is incredibly loud with the microphone on, Alyssa.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so you just cannot type.
Okay.
I'm just going to let you know that.
Will do.
Okay.
I was trying to pull up something, but I'll leave that to you.
Yeah. Or you
'cause
can
I
pull
wanted
it
to
up
look
on
at
your
the voice
phone.
cast, 'cause
Pull it
I
up
was
on your
getting
phone.
Huh?
Pull it up on your phone.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have a mobile device.
Yes.
I have 2 mobile devices right next to me,
Yeah.
actually. Both waiting to be used.
Yes.
Although my phone has low battery. Anyway, we're off topic.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's how we got into it.
Yeah.
It's really funny that you saw it with Noah both times.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Although it's not that funny considering how much of a Disney nerd he is.
Oh.
Noah, if you're listening, you're a Disney nerd. I hope you know that.
Absolutely. I feel
He knows
bad that I
that, but,
forgot.
like,
I feel
what?
kind of bad that I didn't think to ask him before recording this.
Noah, if you're listening to this, please leave an angry comment.
Yeah.
Or a nice comment, whatever.
Yeah,
leave a comment.
Yeah. Yes. Leave a comment if you hear this, Noah.
Please do. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes.
Anyway,
you want to give a very brief summary that is not plot spoilery about this movie?
Sure.
No.
So, Wreck-It Ralph 2 takes place 6 years after the first movie. Can't say you can really tell all that much.
Yeah.
Like, aside from the smartphones.
Yeah.
And the fact that the internet existed 6 years.
Yeah, it's 2012. Smartphones existed in 2012, Alyssa.
Yeah, I know. So it's not that much of a difference, but
Yeah.
Wow, so wait, did Wreck-It Ralph, the original Wreck-It Ralph, come out in 2012?
Yeah, it did.
Wow, 6 years ago. Dang.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Okay, so
what's the plot?
6 years later, I'm getting there. 6 years later, Ralph and Vanellope are doing their usual thing, playing, and they're doing their work, hanging out in the game world, etc. And then all of a sudden, a new thing gets plugged into the power surge and power cord, power surge protector, power cord, power strip. One of those words is the right thing. And it turns out it's the internet. And they kind of brush it off. Then, in order to spice up things, Ralph decides to take it upon himself to create a new alternative track in Candy Crush for Vanellope to race on, and so she does that. But this causes the steering wheel on the actual arcade cabinet to break. And this means that her game is now in danger of being sent away for scrap.
Mm-hmm.
And so then Vanellope and Ralph decide that the only way to save her game is to buy a new steering wheel, which they overheard some of the kids in the arcade talking about it, there being one on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, specifically eBay, by the way. Important that you know that it's specifically eBay. So they go to, so they decide to go to the internet to try and get this steering wheel to save her game. And from there, they pal around in the internet, and a bunch of hijinks happen. Hijinks in which I will not spoil.
Yes. Yes, because
So
this is still a relevant movie, so we do have a spoiler warning here.
We do.
But before we get into the spoiler territory, what did you think of the movie overall?
Oh boy, this question. I was dreading this question,
Oh.
So turns out, I didn't really like this movie, if I'm being totally honest. I think at best, I think it was okay, and I think at worst, I maybe hate it, but we'll see on that one. Jury's still out on that. I really hate that I have to say that. Like, I really wish I wasn't sitting here saying that, but I can't lie. I have a lot of problems with this movie. And okay, but it's not the same thing as with Incredibles 2. I want to clarify, like, with Incredibles 2, I didn't like it as much as the first movie, but I don't really think I had, like, a specific feeling. It just didn't gel for me in some weird way. But with this movie, I can point to, like, several flaws that really left a bad taste in my mouth. There's one big one that was like, why? Uh, so yeah. I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but that's how the chips crumble. That's how the cookie crumbled for me. So
It was funny.
how about you?
I loved it.
Oh no. This is gonna be interesting, huh?
Yes.
We're on like complete opposite spectrums of this movie.
Yes.
Oh boy! All right.
Yes, I realize I have a tendency to really love a movie once I finish watching it, and then afterwards realize it. But like we talked about a couple problems with it,
Right. Yeah.
but I still think it's a really good movie.
Oh boy. Well, I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
Like if you like this movie, more power to you.
Yeah.
I just can't. It sucks too, cause like it's a sequel to a movie I really liked. I really wanted this movie to be good. Like I wasn't going into the theater thinking, "Oh man, this movie's gonna suck."
Hey, let's make this debate worse. I think this one might be better than the original.
You take that back. You take that back. How dare you? That's like, oh my god. That's heresy to my ears. Okay.
Wow. Okay then.
I'm just kidding. Okay, no. If you think that, then that's fine. I just very strongly, very 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 strongly disagree. Like real strong negative reaction to that statement right there.
Okay.
But
Okay.
That's your opinion. You're allowed to have
it. You're not happy I have the opinion though.
No, I'm not. I'm sure you're not happy that I thought this movie sucked.
Yeah, fair. But I feel like you're more upset than I am.
I'm more upset that you like this movie?
Yeah, I feel like I'm more upset that I think it's better than the first one than I am that you think the first one's better.
Yeah, I guess.
Anyway.
I guess maybe it's just because I felt this movie was just so worse in almost every way. Not every way, but like in most regards.
Anyway, okay. Let's see. Okay.
Okay, let's get into it.
Okay, spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. Or if you continue on ahead, you have been warned.
Yes. Okay, so let's start with the positives. Yeah. I have some positives.
Yeah.
I don't hate everything in this movie. I liked some things.
Okay. Go ahead.
But why don't you start, since you're the positive guy? No.
You start.
Maybe I'll jump on your parade.
You start.
I'm just kidding. Me?
Yeah. You start.
Well, okay,
because I probably can think of more positives than you can.
That's fair.
So okay, you should start, and then when we get to the negatives, I should start on the negatives.
Right. Positives. Okay. Animation, really good, as always with Disney. High quality, good lighting. The actual design of the internet I thought was really cool. Like the fact that it sort of has like a city metropolitan kind of look to it. Yeah. Yeah,
I feel like there were a lot of smart decisions made in the references they made to the internet places.
I disagree with you a little bit there, but we'll come back to that. Okay. We'll put a pin in it. It's fine. So I just think from like a generic overarching feeling, the internet's design looked pretty good. Mm-hmm. Like it just, that's just fine. I mean, granted, I haven't seen many other movies that take place in the internet. I know the Emoji Movie exists. That was more on a smartphone, I think.
There's Pixels.
Oh, that's right. No, that was like a stupid Adam Sandler comedy. I'm pretty sure that one took place mostly in the real world, right?
Yeah, like it never took place like in the internet, but like.
Right. So I think
it's still a thing about. It's still a comparison to like property to things that like use digital places as their setting, and
Yeah.
Emoji Movie is still fills in that slot, and this movie definitely utilizes the setting a lot better.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the Emoji Movie because
But I
people want to see
mean,
the Emoji Movie. You did?
no, I haven't.
Oh.
But I mean, you don't have to know.
No, yeah. Like from what I've seen of the trailers, I don't think they use the setting as well as it. This movie, I think the setting was good. I feel like if everything else surrounding that setting was better, I probably would have liked this movie a lot more. But like if I were to just take the setting, like if I were to just separate it from everything else and just the design of the internet on its own, I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Other positives: voice acting, really good as always. What's nice about Disney is that they tend not to cast like celebrity voices in their animated stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or at least like it's not like you have some other studios will go for like Katy Perry or Justin Timberlake or like LeBron James as like voice cast, and I don't know, it feels like the only reason why they're getting those voices is because it's a name celebrity that people recognize, and therefore people come to see this movie. Whereas I feel like with Disney projects, they tend, I mean, sometimes they'll cast like Dwayne Johnson.
This movie did have Gal Gadot in it.
Yes, it did. Gal Gadot, yes.
But I mean, they didn't advertise it like, come see this movie because Gal Gadot is in it.
Yeah, right. And like, I think the only actor they might have done that with in recent years was Moana, like with Dwayne Johnson as Maui.
Okay, hold on. Zootopia. Who was the singer?
Shakira.
Yeah.
She had a bit role though. She was a main character.
Yeah. But still, like,
it
was still obvious that it was like Shakira.
I feel like they don't like cast like their top billing.
Yeah.
Always is like major characters, and I feel like with Dwayne Johnson, they cast him mostly because he's of not Maori descent. He's of Samoan descent.
Yes.
He's Polynesian.
Polynesian, yes.
Or a South Pacific Islander of some variety.
Yes.
I think it's Samoan though. So because of that, I feel like it makes it's more excusable.
Yeah.
So. But basically, my point is that everyone in this movie, voice acting wise, was good. I didn't see a weak link in there anywhere. There wasn't anyone who was really phoning it in or had a bad time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a Disney movie that had really bad voice acting. Maybe the direct-to-video sequels. Those might have had bad voice acting, but not this movie.
This is actually the first
voice acting good. Huh?
According to Wikipedia, this is the first sequel that Disney has put out since the 2011 Winnie the Pooh.
Yes, it has. They typically don't do sequels.
Yeah, except
at least as
bad
far as
direct-to-DVD ones in the 90s.
Yeah, as far as their animated canon, there's only 2. Well, including this one, there's only 3, because there's also Rescuers Down Under, which is also another sequel. I've heard that movie's really good, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Anyway, voice acting I thought was really good. There were some good jokes. I didn't laugh at all of them, and I hate to say it, but I might have chuckled at some of them, but I don't think there were any. There weren't as many like standout humor jokes, in my opinion, as like that first movie. Or jokes that I thought were like really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think my favorite joke in the movie was all the stuff surrounding the princesses. Yeah. Like I thought that scene was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, the movie kind of stops a little dead in its tracks for that sequence. But at least it was funny. So, and this princesses come back later.
Yeah, so it wasn't just to be like, oh, hey,
it wasn't a total non sequitur, which is good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. A lot of the jokes in this movie I didn't find as funny. But that's just me. I didn't find myself like laughing really hard or anything. I had like a joke. There was like some some ha moments.
Yeah.
But like nothing like too stand out, at least for me.
Huh.
But the princesses, pretty much all the humor in there, I liked.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really funny.
She's from the other studio.
I also really,
She's from the other studio.
That one, that was a funny. That one I laughed at. I also thought, there was another joke that I liked. The other joke I liked was the E-boy one, not E-boy, but like when like
E-boy.
Felix is like, oh
Yeah,
boy,
boy.
and they like just go back and forth.
Yeah.
That one I laughed. That one I thought was funny.
Yeah, that was good.
Aside from those two moments, I can't really think of any jokes that I thought were especially funny.
The scene, a joke I thought was pretty funny was at the end when like Fix-It Felix and the sergeant actually like actually managed to tame the Sugar Rush racers, and then they're talking with Serge and like, wow, how'd you do that? And it was like, well, we did, and the cars just drive past as they're giving their explanation.
I feel like I probably would have found that joke funnier. Like on its own, I think that joke's funny, but I feel like with everything else, I was just kind of like, oh,
really?
Yeah, really.
Huh.
Like, okay, put it this way. Most of the stuff that I've sort of been describing, that I thought, okay, a lot of the things that I thought were good in this movie, kind of think about it like a cake. You know, like I thought the icing and the decorations, I think are nice and pretty and they're very well done. But the center, the cake itself, is like styrofoam and crumbly and gross.
Wow.
And so like it's hard to enjoy a cake that looks really nice when the core of it is just kind of not good.
Why don't we just dive into the core then?
Am I breaking your heart?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean,
That's how I feel about it.
You're being honest. That's true. I'm just like
I feel like that whole joke about with them like talking about how to be good parents, and the cars whooshing by so you can't hear. Like, I feel like I would have laughed at that, but I guess I was just kind of done with the rest of the movie that I wasn't in sort of the mood to think it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense? So, yeah. But you like that joke, right?
Yeah.
What other things did you like? I'll just let you go a little bit, and then I can bring up my grievances.
Yeah. Again, I still think that for the references to the internet they make, whether specific or generic, I think they use them very well, personally, or at least give a design for them well. Like, obviously, like we didn't need to see what Twitter looked like, but it was nice to see, just to see how it was interpreted. I think, the one thing I'm going to say is interesting. All of the main websites they used, which were predominantly Knowsmore and BuzzTube, out of the ones they used, the only one that was based on an actual website was eBay, which I'm just like, interesting. That like they didn't like just go on and be like, let's use YouTube or Bing, I guess. I'm just curious. I was just like, I mean, eBay's just there for the plot point, while the focus of the plot, what characters actually come from BuzzTube and Knowsmore. So I guess that's better than using a just sentient. I'm trying to think of the word for it. Anthropomorphizing Google search or YouTube.
That's our word.
Yeah, I was gonna say something else. I'm like, that's not a word.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like they probably did that, if only because like you could get into a lot of legal trouble with because if you're gonna make an anthropomorphization of an actual IP, like you kind of have to get a lot of permission for that.
That's fair. That is very fair.
So that's, in my opinion, that's probably the biggest reason why they did that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they had Google and they had YouTube. I saw it in the background actually as sponsors, so it's not like they weren't able to get the sponsorship. I don't think it was a case of we weren't able to get the YouTube's
I mean,
thing.
at
I
one
think they would
point,
have been
yes,
able
just
to.
straight
It's
out.
just
I mean, yes, when going through like the possible videos to recommend, she's like, no, YouTube already has that one.
like so. But I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
I think the reason why they didn't
No, yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Like the
best case scenario is that they were like, well, we want to have these. We thought of these great characters. We want to show them with the world. But
yeah.
I think the most cynical answer is that it's just legally they aren't allowed to
Yeah.
make like an I feel like if
So
they
they
were,
still kind of made
it
an
wasn't.
anthropomorphization of like the eBay and notifications.
Yeah, but that's not like
Yeah.
eBay as a
Yeah.
whole.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's why I personally think that
Yeah.
those two specific ones aren't brands.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a matter of they don't want to use brands or they weren't able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather that they wouldn't have done it if they had the capability, even if they had the capabilities to.
Yep.
That's just me though.
Yeah.
Any other positives from you?
Where else to go? JP's family is fun.
I'm like trying to keep a mental like
a list of all the things that I like that you're gonna
be like not say like you're wrong, but just like
you're wrong.
Yeah. JP's family. I will concede that JP's family was kind of funny.
Yeah. I will go ahead with a negative right involving this. What the heck was his little companion?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
He was just
Gorp or something.
He was creepy.
I mean, I think that was kind of the point, though, right?
Yeah.
He was supposed to be creepy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. And then also Double Dan was really also creepy.
He is in the dark web, so
yes,
again,
very true.
Makes sense.
Very true.
But I get it. Like if you're not wanting to have a creepy thing in a movie, understandable. And in fact, having unwanted things in this movie is kind of a thing we both share.
Oh geez. Well, I mean, like they are both like Double Dan's plot relevant. Like the family's like companion is just like, yeah, I'm here. Yeah. He's the very weird Igor.
Yeah.
I still find it. I feel. Again, I think they used what they could used a manifestation of clickbait pop up ads in a good way in this film. I think that was well done. I find it I was surprised watching it that the villain of the film was none of the characters we had actually seen. Well, I mean, technically it was sort of Wreck-It Ralph, but like I liked how they did that. Personally.
Yeah, that's also another thing I'd say I'd like. But I'll only give it like a tiny thumbs up.
Only a tiny? Oh.
Only tiny. Like I said, I'm gonna build to bigger things.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say exactly why I'm like eh. Like I'll give you that. On a surface level, I agree. On a deeper level, though, put it this way: I agree with you. I just didn't think it worked.
Okay. We'll have to discuss that later. I mean, yes. I still like I like this film because like it, while not like fully completely delving into it, but like on some levels definitely delving into insecurities and sort of bit with mental health, and just well-being with especially with Vanellope, with just allowing us also to have a strong visual cue to know when she's, and honestly, it's anxiety. She's just having anxiety when she has the things, and I was like, that's nice to see. That's nice to see. Like could the media have delved into that more? Yes, but like I I was just happy to see that used. Um, Slot Race is a half is a barely repainted Grand Theft Auto 5 online.
Pretty much, yeah.
But like it makes sense to be like you don't but like it's interesting how that works because like it's like got a different name but like it's quite obvious what it's supposed to be based on, so for the greater audience you have like at least an idea of what the world is like or how the world functions, at least get an understanding. Like it's a big open world game where there are a lot of cars you can drive,
Yeah.
which is definitely good because that's what Vanellope would love that, and it was kind of a shorthand for that, for doing that without completely having to discuss what the game was per se. Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, I also found it interesting how they designed the avatars for people. Alyssa?
Oh, wait, yeah, no, I'm just trying to think what you mean. You mean like Slaughter Race?
No.
How
Like when they're interacting with the internet, like the squarehead
Oh,
dudes,
yeah, yes.
and just
I don't know. It's just kind of a minor thing for me.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
that's a minor thing for me too. I'm just saying, no, I like it. Maybe a
I'm
little
kind
too
of
close to a
indifferent,
pop
but
Funko, but hey, uh, but also let's also bring up the fact that there's the first posthumous Stan Lee cameo.
oh yeah, that was rough.
Yeah,
That was so rough. When I saw that, I was like, oh no, please
yeah,
don't talk. I'll cry. And then he didn't. I was like, thank God.
yeah,
Oh man, that was really rough. It was only like a 5 second thing.
yeah. Like Vanellope just
But
bumped
I was
into
just
him,
like,
ran off screen. He turned around, we saw it was Stan Lee, and then cut away.
oh man, that sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously that was probably made, you know, it's obviously wasn't intended to be posthumous, but
yeah,
yikes. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah.
Anything else?
I mean, I just think the movie's good. I think it's really good, and I know
Okay.
you're gonna tear that apart. Uh,
Okay. Well, I kind of feel bad. Like I don't want to tear it apart.
hey,
I have to get some stuff off
do
my
what you
chest.
need to
That's all.
do. Do what you need to do.
Okay.
Don't let my enjoyment of the film stop you.
Okay. And don't let my hatred of this film stop you.
Okay.
Hopefully. So, let's see. First thing that you brought up. Remind me again.
I don't remember.
Great. I think it was about
Someone leave in the comments. What was the first thing I brought up that Alyssa had
I
notes
think
on?
it was about like the way that the
Yeah, the
internet
internet.
stuff was designed,
Yeah.
like the ads
Yeah.
and okay, so one of my big overarching problems with this movie is that there's just way too much advertising and I hate it so much. Okay, backing up, I understand that most of it was in the background and not a lot of it was plot relevant. Like I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just everywhere. There are so many brands in this movie. There was Twitter, Google, Pinterest, IMBD. What else did I see? eBay.
Yeah, I
YouTube.
better have seen eBay.
Trying to remember some other ones. I know there were other ones. Snapchat, Facebook. Like that's like what 8 already that I just mentioned. That's a lot. That is a lot. And look, like I said, Disney's in there.
Yeah.
They advertise themselves because Disney just has no shame, I guess.
Yeah.
And like it just this kind of to me, like, when I see this much advertising, it reminds me a lot of something like Man of Steel, where in Man of Steel, there was a fighting scene, and almost, like, completely not relevant to anything, you'll just see, like, brands just popping up everywhere, like, Superman just crashed into an IHOP. Oh, look, there he's throwing a U-Haul truck.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, it's yes, I understand, like, in the real world, there are buildings that are IHOPs, and yes, U-Haul trucks do exist, but they have to pay to use those brands.
Mm-hmm.
So it is advertising in some ways. It's product placement, basically. Yeah. The Transformers series does that a lot. Michael Bay movies. There's tons and tons of product placement in those movies.
Hey, look, buy our new Camaro.
Yeah, like,
I
so,
mean,
like, and look, I'm not saying that, now some people can stomach it more than others, you know, but the problem with this movie is, like, when you see those advertisements and you realize that this is a whole movie structured on the internet, it just kind of feels like I was tricked into watching a walking, talking advertisement, you know? Like I feel like I don't know if I've ever seen a Disney movie that was this corporate and this, like, blatantly, we are trying to get you to buy and sell things. I understand now, like you pointed out about Twitter, you know, like, yes, it was kind of creative to see the Twitter birds tweeting out the tweets in, like, trees. That was really imaginative, but it doesn't, for me at least, it doesn't disguise the fact that they're still advertising Twitter. Like, they didn't have to get Twitter's name for this product. They could have done a generic thing. Sure, it might have not been as creative, but they didn't have to do it. So they also kind of, like, yeah.
So you would have preferred everything to be generic?
I don't even know if I really wanted this movie to take place on the internet. Because, like, the problem with trying to make a movie about that is in the internet is that the internet is so commercial. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And yes,
like, the internet as an entity is extraordinarily commercial. Therefore, the only way you can talk about the movie is just as an advertisement. And that's my big problem. I feel like this movie wasn't created to tell a story. I felt like the entire time this movie was just created because it had the best environment to offer all this brand integration and all the advertisements. You know, like maybe that's not why they did this movie, but that's how it comes across to me. Like, they didn't have to do this as the sequel.
I mean, the first Wreck-It Ralph had the same problem.
I mean, it did. Yes, there were, like, some definitely some advertisements in there, like Nesquik. There was that joke about Nesquik saying.
Yeah, Sonic.
And like the
Pac-Man.
video game characters are there too. But I don't know. It's just something about this movie just feels way too much. I just don't know. And, like, maybe I wouldn't buy it. And also, so there's that. Oh, well, here's an example of what I'm talking about when I'm saying that some of the branding integration is a little much. So one of the big problems that I have with the plot is the steering wheel bit. When the steering wheel breaks, like, on a plot level, in my opinion, you can cut out everything to do with the steering wheel, and, like, you don't need the steering wheel for this plot. At least in theory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, cause on a plot level, the steering wheel functions as an excuse to have the main characters go into the internet. Like, it is the thing that makes them go on their journey. But the problem with the whole steering wheel and Vanellope's game being in danger of going away is that, that plot, that conflict of the game being, like, broken, that conflict, it was resolved off screen, which is a big problem for me. Like, theoretically, the end point of the conflict should be the game is fixed, or the game isn't fixed, or something. Or if the game is fixed, then that, like, is a bigger tension that leads to the climax of the story. But the fact that the game is fixed like in the wider scheme of the plot, the fact that Vanellope's game, whether or not Vanellope's game is fixed or not fixed, doesn't really have any bearing on the actual meat and conflict of the story, which is Ralph's insecurity and Vanellope's desire to see the greater world.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, put it this way, the cabinet's breakage relates to Vanellope's internal conflict, but it doesn't relate to Ralph's at all. And the problem with this movie is that Ralph's the main character. His internal conflict is the bread and butter of the story. So then if Ralph's conflict is supposed to be the major part of the story, then why is there this whole subplot about the game getting broken? And like subplots are fine, right? Like the first Wreck-It Ralph movie had that whole subplot about Fix-It-Felix and Calhoun.
Mm-hmm.
But Calhoun's presence actually mattered because in the climax of the movie, the cyberbugs are all there.
Mm-hmm.
And they break out and then she helps people. So it's not like the side plot like doesn't come back in the end. And like, yeah, we do eventually see the other racers again at the end, and they're all good now, or they're not as bratty anymore. But again, there's no, that doesn't relate to the game being fixed. You know, like we don't actually see the game being fixed. It's just, oh, the wheel's good now, and then we just kind of forget about it, and then we move on to the climax, which like is kind of weird to me. Another thing that's weird to me, with Vanellope's internal conflict, right? You have her internal conflict and her idea of, I'm bored with being in with the cabinet and I want to see the greater world. Way this could work better. Don't have the game be broken. Just have Vanellope's internal conflict, her desire to see the world, be what gets them into the internet. Like, she can just have her just go and explore Wi-Fi. Like, we've already established as a character that she is, you know, a really she doesn't mind breaking the rules. She's super exuberant, you know, like, so it doesn't seem out of character for her to like ignore the rules. They ignore the rules anyway to get the steering wheel, so why not just have her ignore the rules because she really wants to see the greater world? Mm-hmm. That would, to me, like, so the reason why I'm saying that, or another way to get them onto the internet, what if we had Wreck-It Ralph, Fix-It-Felix, and Candy Crush, or not Candy Crush, look at that, subliminal advertising, and Sugar Rush are now mobile apps on phones. Like, there's a nostalgia boom thing, and they want to put it on apps now. Mm-hmm. And now Vanellope and Wreck-It Ralph have to go and play in the app. There's another way you can get them on the internet. So I guess my point is that I think the steering wheel bit really doesn't really meld well with the rest of the plot and the story they're trying to tell. It seems like just kind of a device and a contrivance to get them on the internet. And it feels really weak because I feel like they could have come up with something else. And the fact that it's tied to an advertiser, like it's tied to eBay, makes it even worse. Because it's like, did they just think of this because they needed an excuse to put eBay in the film and they didn't have any other way to do it? So, okay. That's what I'm kind of...
I'm gonna strong disagree with your suggestion of them being mobile apps now. Because wouldn't it just be another version of them rather than them themselves?
I mean, yeah, that was kind of a weak suggestion. Yeah. But my point is that, like I said, I think my first one was still legit. Like, Vanellope could have just gone into the internet. She didn't. If her internal conflict, if the whole conflict of the movie is supposed to be this internal conflict of Vanellope's desire to see the world and Ralph's insecurity and stuff,
at the beginning,
I feel like having the whole like an external conflict of their game being broken doesn't really need to exist.
But at the beginning of the film, Vanellope's not conflicted like that. She's just like,
okay. I just then like maybe have the other racers like yell at her or insult her or do something like that. And then she's like, I don't want to stay here when everyone hates me, so I'm going to go. There you go. Now you don't need to have this game broken. She feels dejected. She's like, let's go into the internet because there's some new stuff there. Maybe I can find a new game there.
But part of the conflict is that she does want to be in Star Wars, but she also still wants to be back at the arcade too.
Okay, I get it, but I also think that's okay. So let me back up too. Let me back up a bit more. Like I get it that part of the conflict is that she's conflicted about where she is in the world. But you can still have that moment of her being rejected by the rest of the game, by the rest of the players, and her still wanting to maybe go back because she could also miss it too. Like, okay, that might have not been the best suggestion, but my point is that I don't really feel like the steering wheel was the only way for this to work. And it just, to me, feels really contrived. Especially since it's resolved off screen. It was like the whole reason why they're in the internet, and then all of a sudden it's gone. Like, what? Like, they're working up. They had the whole thing about Ralph making money to buy the steering wheel, which, by the way, doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to ignore that. All that time, and then it's just, oh, I guess it's fixed now. Like, what? Why even have that plot if we're not going to see it resolved? Okay, so here's another thing. Mm-hmm. So I also, because of that jumbleness of the plot, I feel like a lot of my problems would have been fixed if they had just made Vanellope the main character. Like, make Vanellope the main character. Don't even have Ralph's whole insecurity thing. Like, maybe, but it's a back thing. Like, have him just be, like, a side thing. Have Vanellope have this inner conflict about wanting to see the greater world. And then have, like, maybe have the Sugar Rush kids, the rest of the Sugar Rush cast is, like, who she bumps up against, you know? And then it could tie into this whole idea of the Sugar Rush kids being spoiled brats, you know? Like, if they really want Vanellope to be part of the team, they have to learn that to value her as her own person. And sort of have that be the main thrust of the movie. Because also my other problem with this movie is that Ralph's whole insecurity thing kind of, sort of, is reflective of the first movie. Like the whole, because like King Candy, the whole point of the last movie was that Ralph felt unsure of his place in the world, right? Mm-hmm. He was a bad guy, but he thought he was a good guy. And so he felt undervalued in his game, so he game hopped, which was established to be a bad idea, tried to find value in another game, and then by the end of the story, he realizes that he has to make his own value. And that value, and also, right? And then King Candy, as a villain, was kind of supposed to be sort of his dark reflection, if that makes sense. Like, because King Candy was a character who got so jealous of another game that he was willing to break the code and insert himself into the game so that he could be the best racer and that no one else could take his place. Like, he was unhappy in his own game, and he was willing to destroy everyone else in order to fulfill that dream. But Ralph is unlike him. He isn't like that. He might be unhappy, but he's not willing to literally destroy lives in order to get what he wants. Mm-hmm. And I feel like this story is kind of the same thing in that Ralph is insecure and trying to find fulfillment in things that are outside of who he is. Or rather, Vanellope's whole finding out what she wants is also very similar to Ralph. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just rambling at this point. But I don't know. The plot just seems really, really unfocused. Especially with the whole steering wheel thing. I don't know. It just feels so useless. I also feel like the whole steering wheel thing was also just kind of an excuse so they could just make a bunch of YouTube references. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Which fine, I guess. If you're gonna do that, you're gonna do that, but...
Yeah.
Okay. And then, okay, so... I don't know, I'll let you talk for a little bit. And then I'll bring up my big kicker. The big no-no. The big thing that made me go, oh my god. But,
okay.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say before I laid the smack down? I'm just kidding, I won't do that.
Okay. So, like, I get what you're saying. I just, like... It...
What?
I'm trying to find the right words to say because this feels slightly personal.
I mean, it's personal too. Like, it's personal for me too. And like the big thing that I'll point out is also a personal thing. So, like, and like if it's, and look, I'm not trying to say that you're wrong in liking this movie. I know what you were saying before about insecurity and sort of internal conflict as being something you related to a lot.
Yeah.
And if you related to that conflict a lot, that's fine. And I'm not trying to say that the conflict of the movie was bad. I just feel like this was not the right way to do it. I feel like it could have worked. We just need a really heavy rewrite of the script. That's all that's all I'm building to. That's all I'm trying to say. Like that's at the end of the day, that's the real opinion I have. Like, could have worked, maybe, but they just didn't. The script just wasn't well done, in my opinion. I just felt like it wasn't as well written as it could have been. What were you saying? Sorry.
Where was I? Okay, so I get what you're saying about, like, Ralph kind of having the similar thing of, like, not knowing his worth and then refinding his worth. But this is also definitely in a different way because in a strong way in the world, and it's, again, why I'm saying it's personal, because something I'm kind of relating to right now. It's like, oh, I have these friends that I really like and love spending time with in person. Oh, but they're not here anymore. Does that still make us friends? And I mean, I've never gotten into a conflict with anyone like Ralph and Vanellope do, and I've never, like, tried to ruin their career so that they'd stay home. Just a lot of the conflicts just feels very personal. I think that's why I attached and really liked it.
I mean, yeah, and I'm really happy that was a thing that you were able to relate to, and I value that. You know, I'm really happy that happened for you. And I can see why you'd feel that, right? I don't know. For me, it's really hard to relate to a story like this when you can see the cracks. At least for me. You know, like I said with the cake thing, like, it's hard to enjoy a cake that looks good but tastes bad. At least for me. And, like, maybe there are some, like, nice chocolate nuggets that are nice to eat. But to me, that's not enough to salvage everything. And, I mean, I don't know. Like, and at the end of the day, what we like and we don't like is a personal thing. You know, maybe if there are plenty of movies that I've seen that aren't good or that aren't great, and that I will still that I still love and I still, like, enjoy. Hot example: Meet the Robinsons. Probably, like, as a movie, like, on its own, if someone were to come up to me and tell me, you know, Meet the Robinsons wasn't that good of a movie, I'd be like, you know what? I understand. Like, I get you. It has a lot of flaws, and I will be the first to admit that it has a lot of flaws. But I connected to it when I saw the movie for the first time. I really connected to it. And I think that's why I'm able to like it despite of its flaws. So if that's the same case for you, then that's fine. And I respect that. I guess that's how this discussion is interesting, because we're coming from different viewpoints here.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that me yelling about the plot doesn't like devalue the experience for you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mean, you know, like frozen pizza might not be great, but if you really enjoy it, then who am I to say that you're wrong?
It's funny you used to say that because I used to have frozen pizza for breakfast when I was younger.
That is the weirdest thing I think I know about you now. One of the weirdest things.
And now the internet knows it too. But if that's one of the weirdest things you know about me, then yeah, the rest of the internet, yeah, I'm not that exciting of a person.
Okay, so
but I will
say before I conclude with my big thing.
I will throw out a criticism that I did realize.
Okay.
That I'm like, huh. So they're in the internet for a solid 24 hours plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a full day would have had to have passed, right?
Yes.
A full day that the arcade would have been open, right?
Oh.
I know Felix. I know Ralph asked Felix to cover for him, but how would he cover for that?
I don't know.
And I kind of wish we saw how it was covered for.
That's another flaw. We never get to see the Calhoun and Fix It Felix are super, super, super small bit parts in this movie, and I don't like that. I really wish, like, we could have cut out a lot of the, like, unfunny jokes that I didn't like and replaced them with Fix It Felix and Calhoun trying to raise 15 kids. Like, how funny would that have been? That would have been so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this movie had to deny me. It denied me for product placement. Ah! I'm sorry.
I mean, I also do agree with you that I wish we at least popped in on them at least once during this film.
Yeah, I think that would have been a really good change of pace. I feel like it would have been really funny. But no. Product placement. Okay. So, are you good?
Yeah.
Have you said your piece?
Yeah.
All right. So my big thing, the big thing that made me so upset that it kind of turned me off for the rest of the movie was the virus and the way Ralph handled things with Penelope. Oh my god. Okay, so before you so I'm just gonna say it.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything until you're done.
So the virus itself as like a thing to include in this movie, not a bad idea. My problem is that the actual act itself, or at least like on the surface, fine, maybe. But the implications and just everything about the thing is just okay. So the problem I have with this virus is that, like, Ralph basically, like, without context, Ralph, in order to the thing that it does is that Ralph decides, like, this whole plot point is basically Ralph decides out of his own self-interest to get a dangerous virus that he doesn't know all that much about and is from a shady guy that he doesn't trust, to sabotage a game world that has not only his best friend in it, but also other NPCs that are living in this universe, all for the purpose of making sure that she doesn't do something that she actually really wants to do. And that is just, like, that, like, removed from everything else, is just such a horrible thing to do to someone. Like, it's seriously an awful thing. And I understand that the movie tries to frame this as, like, acceptable. And the way they frame it by being acceptable is that A, Ralph doesn't want to hurt anyone, and B, they try to redeem him in the third act for it by having his virus be unleashed onto the world and almost take down the entire internet with it. So his big mistake is followed up by an even bigger consequence. So he kind of gets a consequence for his actions. So it's not completely blameless. Like, it's not like they were like, my point is that this horrible thing that he does isn't something that I'm not trying to say the movie is trying to say is a good thing. My problem is that I don't think the movie is cognizant or really seems to understand how bad of a thing Ralph just did. Like how do I phrase this? Am I making sense right now? I'm not finished, but am I making sense at the moment?
I mean, I kind of get
Okay.
I get where you're coming from, but
Where are you confused?
No, I mean, I get where you're. I understand. I don't completely agree. Mostly just because how naive Ralph is.
Okay. So yeah, I was expecting you to say that actually.
You were?
Well, yeah, because that's the other thing I can imagine people saying as an argument for me. Like, well, Ralph's naive. He doesn't know what he's doing. I'm like, but here's the problem. Ralph is a video game character. Ralph knows about coding. He knows that he's code, and he knows that the world he lives in is made of code. He knows about glitches. And glitches can be super serious and dangerous, right? And he knows that, I'm sure he knows that game-breaking glitches are a thing. And that glitches can be so bad. I mean, hell, King Candy manipulated the game's code to literally make everyone forget about Vanellope and make her into a glitch. So he should be aware that messing with code is a really bad thing to do and can have awful consequences unless you absolutely know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, viruses are technically different from glitches, and yes, he doesn't really know what viruses are. However, I still feel like a video game character, considering his background and considering the events of the first movie, I still feel like it's not that big of a jump for him to realize that messing with the game's code is not a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he put people's lives in danger. Like, even if this game, even though we know that the virus wouldn't have actually hurt the NPCs in Slaughter Hat Race, it could have. And he was willing to put their lives on the line for his own self-interests. And like, even if we ignore that possibility, even if we assume that this virus would have done exactly what Ralph would have wanted and just slowed down the game and made it boring, that still doesn't change the fact that he is manipulating people and also endangering, and also, like, he just doesn't care about the NPCs from Slaughter Race. Like, he doesn't care that their livelihoods are going to be in danger. Like, what happens if their game has to get shut down because, like, the race is boring now? Or they can't fix the virus. Like, my point is, and look, in a I'm not saying that having your character make a really awful like thing, like do something this awful, is necessarily bad from a narrative standpoint. But what I am saying is that I don't think this movie is really thinking about the implications of this. I think they're just thinking, oh, Ralph made a mistake, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, but it was like a huge, awful mistake. And the other thing that's like really bad about this whole situation to me is that this wasn't a mistake made. Okay, I'll make a quick comparison. In the first movie, Ralph talks to King Candy and he confronts him and being like, why can't you let Vanellope race in the big race? And King Candy says, I'm doing this to protect her, because if the people who play our game realize that she's a glitch, they'll think our game is broken, and then our game will get unplugged, and then everyone in the game world will have to be homeless, and because Vanellope is a glitch, she won't be able to leave the game world, and she'll die with the game. And then Ralph's like, oh man, that's awful. I can't let her race. And so then he goes and he tries to talk Vanellope out of it. In order to get her to stop, he destroys her car. So it's kind of a similar thing in some respects. Ralph is directly impeding Vanellope's ability to follow her hopes and dreams by literally destroying whatever it is she loves. Here's the difference, though. In the other movie, he's doing it under false pretenses. He thinks he's saving her. Like, he's not doing it for him, he's doing it for Vanellope. That doesn't necessarily excuse that behavior, but it is a little bit better. In this movie, he's not, yes, he believes that it's dangerous, but A, that's complete that's complete hogwash, because Vanellope has already proven herself to be a, good racer who can handle herself. And I don't really see how Slaughter Race is any more dangerous to at least a video game character than Sugar Rush, which has like gumball drops rolling around that can hit people. Like, man, I mean, yeah, I know it's not as violent, but I feel like the danger is like not as great. Anyway, there's that, and then 2, in reality, Ralph is only doing this because he is obsessive and insecure. He's doing it for his own self-interest. He's not doing it because he thinks it's best for Vanellope. He's doing it because he wants her to not do that anymore. And it's just, and then the fact that she thinks it's her fault when she comes out, it just makes it even worse, because it's like, oh my god, she doesn't deserve that. She doesn't. And I know people are gonna say, but he gets his actions get, they get worse, and the internet almost dies because of it. And I'm like, I understand, but still, they didn't have to do something that severe in order to get to that point. Like they could have done anything, but they chose to have him do something very manipulative and extremely horrible, and maybe even crossing an ethical line. And it's just the fact that a character that I like so much did that in a movie is just really upsetting, and might be the biggest reason why I don't like this movie. Yeah. I want to apologize. I know, especially Michael and everybody else who had a positive connection to this movie. Me bringing that up, probably, I don't know how that makes you feel. I'm really sorry, but for me personally, like, I couldn't look over that. And I want to like, I wasn't trying to look for flaws in this movie, nor was I going into this movie thinking I was going to hate it. But when I saw that happen on screen, it kind of made me feel a little sick, and it kind of killed my buzz. So it was hard for me to enjoy everything else. I thought the last act was so darker. And it's just, yeah. So that's the big flaw. That was the big thing that killed it for me. Mm-hmm. And I guess the rest of the movie just wasn't good enough to overshadow that, in my opinion. Like, there are movies that I've watched that have big flaws in that sort of vein that I can kind of overlook because the rest of the movie is just so good. But this movie didn't, at least in my opinion, wasn't good enough to elevate it beyond that. So. Want to close this out with any more positives, Michael? Because this is kind of a downer note to end on.
Like, you are right. I never thought about how much that impact would be on the livelihoods for the characters in the game.
I feel like a lot of people didn't, Michael.
Yeah. But still, it's that hubris that literally becomes the villain at the end of the movie. It is himself. He is fighting himself and the problems of himself in physical form.
I know. I said that, I know, but I still don't feel like I don't feel like the movie, like I feel like on paper that makes sense, but I feel like in execution it just didn't. Like, I feel like the fact that this movie was trying to be funny was also what killed it for me in some ways. Like I said, on paper, that idea makes sense, right? Like, the payoff, like the consequences that Ralph commits for doing such a horrible thing they balance out. So I'm agreeing with you there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think the problem that I have is that the framing's wonky on that part. Because the movie's still trying to be funny. It's still trying to give me jokes. And I'm like, but what happened wasn't funny. Or like when one of the kickers for me was when Vanellope was like, I didn't say I didn't want to be your friend. I said you were a bad friend. And I'm like, no, Vanellope, Ralph wasn't being a bad friend. He was being a horrible person. Like he went way beyond bad friend right there. Like he crossed the line. Like he crossed the kind of line that makes someone think maybe I shouldn't be this guy's friend anymore. He might be a danger to me. And the fact that she was like, it's okay, is like, no, it's not. It's not okay. It's just not okay. Like this movie, like I said, I think the big problem with this entire plot point is that the movie doesn't treat it to the severity that it actually does. The framing's still off. There's still jokes. They still think of it as just him being a bad friend, when I think it deserved a more serious, like, tone. Like, if you're gonna have something like that happen in a movie, you've got to treat it like, man, that sucked. You can't be like, let's have some jokes. Like, no, you can't. Manipulative, awful behavior like that isn't funny. And, like, yeah. That would be my response to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. Are you okay? Did I break your heart?
Maybe.
I'm sorry if I did.
Yeah, I'm still just processing, so I don't know anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay, I guess.
I'm trying.
Maybe, oh.
I'm trying to be honest about how I feel about this movie.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt, so.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any closing remarks? I don't know how long we've been going.
I don't know. Well,
you don't know?
A bit after. Hold on. Not that long. It's only a little over an hour.
Okay. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, I don't know.
I feel like that's all I had to say.
I mean, I guess that's all I have to say. I don't know anymore.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I mean, you had genuine complaints that I didn't realize just because I was distracted by the coolness and the.
I mean, look, you making a genuine connection with this movie, I'm not gonna fault you for that. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, because you like this movie, Michael, that means you're okay with the fact that Ralph did a horrible thing. Like, that's not what I'm trying to suggest here. Mm-hmm. For me personally, I just couldn't, once that happened, I really couldn't move. I couldn't, it was over for me, because that kind of on-screen behavior affects me personally, or at least that's how I see it, you know? Mm-hmm. So I don't want you to think that I think that you're a horrible person. I'm just telling you why I don't like this movie. That's one of the main reasons why.
No, yeah.
Main reasons was product placements, too many, and that plot point. Mm-hmm. If you want to sum it up.
Okay.
All right, so closing remarks?
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you start? Because I've been talking way too much.
I was hoping you'd go first because I don't know what to say now.
Okay.
Genuinely, okay. I'm probably not.
I'm sorry.
You know, maybe this was one of the times that maybe we should have talked things over beforehand.
Probably, yeah. That would have been a good idea.
Because the thing, for those listening in, if we don't see the movie together, or actually even if we do see the movie together, we will try to avoid talking about it beforehand, so as we can discuss it.
Yeah, a little bit more, have more material for the podcast. Yeah.
And I mean, that's normally works because normally we've had similar opinions. Like, there's things we've disagreed on.
Yeah.
But holy cow.
I don't think we've ever agreed on anything this major, or disagreed on anything this major before.
Yeah, so, Oh boy. Anywho.
Yeah. Lessons for next time?
Yeah. Just make sure we have at least the same general opinion, and if we did, then we can just let it go and kill the podcast. If not, then we
let it go. Let it go. Hey, look, it's a Disney reference.
Hey.
Okay, so I guess closing remarks?
Yeah.
All right, so my closing remarks, I'll make it brief. As I've said before, didn't really like this movie. Thought the plot, I basically, like I said, it had good ideas, but I felt like the core and the main internal conflict was just poorly executed, and it's upsetting to me because it was a sequel to a movie I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
If you like this movie, or if you've heard everything we had to say and still think you want to see it, power to you. I respect that, and I wish I could like this movie as much as you did, but unfortunately, I can't. So that's my final thoughts. Michael?
I still think that for the choices they made for the setting, that they still did a very good job with it. Whether they could have done it differently or not, that's a different point, I feel. But for use of the setting that they chose, I think they did a good job. There's still a lot of elements within the film that I really liked. And I still think you should go see it to see it for yourself.
Yeah. Always judge a movie for yourself.
Yeah, just maybe also see if if Alyssa is putting you off a bit, maybe try to see if you got a theater with $5 Tuesday movie tickets.
Yeah, if what I said is like, man, don't want to see that, or I want to see it, but I'm a little nervous now, then yeah. But again, if what I said didn't bother you, then by all means, go and see it. Mm-hmm. I will not hate you for it. I promise. Mm-hmm. Okay, so with that all in, I guess wrap ups.
Yep. So your social media, Alyssa.
All right. If you got really angry at what I said, you can tweet me at The Rational Judge. Just don't be a butt about it, okay?
Yeah, don't be a butt.
Civil discussion. Only civil discussions.
Yeah.
Only civil discussions. Please, thank you. But otherwise, yeah, just follow me on Twitter. I yell a lot about video games. I talk a lot about books. Whatever you want to talk about, I am here for it. Mm-hmm. Unless you're a neo-Nazi, in which case, no. Just leave.
Oh, yes. Please. Okay. If you're that, just go away. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. And also, I will do the YouTube thing of asking you to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed what you listened to here. I do also have a Patreon account, which you can find in the description below. And that's all I have to say. What's my outro again? So thanks for tuning in. Watching. So thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack and Alyssa signing off.